Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Tales from the Fandom. We continue in the month of June. How are we even in the month of June? I don't even know, but I have an exciting guest that is joining me today. I am joined by Mulan. Mulan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm excited to have you here. I know we've been bouncing back and forth as far as like getting to this point, and I'm just super excited that we are here getting to talk to each other about things that you are passionate about.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it is my pleasure. I stumbled across you on Instagram. I think somebody had shared some of your photos, and I was like,
Oh.
I like them. They're cool. You got different things that you're into, and here we are.
Yes, this is really great. I'm just so excited for this. I'm kind of nervous, but also so excited.
Well, we're going to make it the at least the best experience possible for you and for me, and we're going to have a good conversation about things. And normally we would talk about cosplay at the end of the podcast, but today we're going to flip the script and talk about cosplay first. And I my first question is always, how and why did you decide that you wanted to get into cosplaying?
I like to think that cosplay started with me playing video games. I didn't officially start it until I want to say maybe 4 years back, but I like to think that when I first started playing video games as a kid, that's where the idea of wanting to dress up as characters came. So, for example, like I loved dressing up as Disney princesses as a kid. I've looked up to characters like Chun Li and Katana from like old school video games. And it wasn't until 4 years ago that my friend took me to my first anime convention that I started to dress up. My ever first cosplay was Chun Li, and I got so many good feedbacks and people that came up and said, "Oh my gosh, you did so well as this," that like the positive energy made me wanted to keep doing it. My friend and I also dressed up as Team Rocket from Pokemon, and it was very popular with the kids at the conventions because they would all run up to me, or like their parents would come up to me and say, "Hey, can we take a picture with you?" And yeah, there's something about dressing up and having people recognize you that gives you such like it's a confidence booster and it makes you feel good about yourself. So I guess that's why I continue doing it. I started rewatching anime again, and I fell in love with all these characters. So I wanted to cosplay as them, and then I started playing video games even more during quarantine, and always thought, hey, why not dress up as that character? So the idea just kept rolling with like costumes and characters and meeting new people, definitely. So that kind of just kept the hobby going.
Okay. Out of curiosity, as far as with Chun Li, like, did you like Chun Li? Was it just a character that you remembered and recognized, as far as her being your first, or was it something else?
Yeah, so I loved the character Chun Li in general. This goes back to when I used to play it as a kid with my dad. I actually really looked up to her as a young girl. When I would play with my dad, he would always kind of just like everyone in the family had their character to fight with, and mine was Chun Li being the only girl in the family. And so I don't know, she just stuck with me. You know, the idea of being like a strong, independent, powerful woman. And my dad always ingrained that in me as well. So it was kind of more like more than just dressing up as like a character that I liked. It rooted with me in my childhood and me growing up to where I am now. And then when I was finally able to dress up as her at a convention and having all these people, you know, who loved this character as well come up to me and say, "Hey, you did this really good." It left a very like warm feeling in me. So
Hmm.
yeah, it just she just stuck with me. I bring her to every con just for a day even, just to get that good just to show her off.
That's right. Get that good positivity to kick
Yeah.
things off and get going.
Definitely.
Yeah, Chun Li is such an iconic character from the games of yore. Like again, and I know I told you off before we start recording. Like I'm old, and I remember when Street Fighter first came to the bowling alley that I
Definitely.
used to go to, and it's like out of like the Street Fighter characters, Chun Li is probably, if not like the most recognizable from that franchise, and it's always fun to see people do do the Chun-Li costumes because there's so many from like the one that you do, which is like the iconic blue and gold one,
Mhm.
to like the newer versions. Whenever they release like new Street Fighters, it's always like there's a new version of the costume.
And I love her so much to where like I look at every single costume and I'm like, one of these days I will. Let me just add her to the cosplay list because I don't know. She means so much to me that like I feel like I just want to keep dressing up in every different outfit of hers. um, yeah,
You've done a number of different cosplays. I'm looking at your Instagram page now.
it's a mess.
It's not a mess. I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
had to reorder some things.
I have to say that there's a number of characters that you do like phenomenally well. I
Thank
love
you.
your Cruella that you did. I especially love like your casual Shigo that you did.
Oh yes, yes. I find these pictures on Instagram and it's always like these really cool, like I would have never thought of it, but like these artists draw like alternate outfits of these characters and I think it's so cool, especially with quarantine. Like even with Corella, I pulled that out of my closet because I wanted to keep up with cosplay during quarantine, even if I didn't have like the funds right away, being recently graduating from college at least.
Hmm.
But yeah, I figured to keep the momentum going, I would start with something small like closet cosplays, where you just grab stuff out of your closet that might look like a character, might look like something they might wear outside of their world. And that's where Corolla came in. I just had to buy. It was near Halloween actually, so I had to buy the wig, but it came out pretty well in my opinion. And then even with Shigo's, I just saw this artist, Tony Ray, I think is her name. She's phenomenal, and I saw that, and I was like, originally it was actually supposed to be a shoot with another friend. We are gonna do a fashion shoot that was this Kim Possible inspired look, but I never managed to meet up with her yet because of COVID. Still, yeah. So I was like, why not just shoot it real quick? And yeah, that's where that came up.
It's so good, and I love finding like those art, like the different styles of art where the artists just draw wonderful different pieces where it's like casual Disney princesses and casual like
Mm.
characters from TV shows. And it's like, yeah, that's really cool. But then I hate when it's from these accounts that take the pictures and then share it, and they're getting like the thousands of
Oh,
likes,
definitely,
and it's
definitely.
like, okay, let me find who the artist is so I can go to that artist page so that way I can like it and tell them that I like it
Like the
rather
source, yeah.
than the resharing people.
Well,
It's
it's
like,
funny
ah,
because sometimes the people don't even post the credit. They'll just say credit to the owner or something
yep.
similar, and not even tag them. And I saw this girl actually. She posted. She does this beautiful. I don't know. It's a mix of like Pokemon, like the different evolutions of certain Pokemons, and like I guess inspired outfits. But she posted her picture, and then this other. She posted a screenshot in her story. She got a message from this person saying, "Hey, can I share this on my story?" But she was sleeping during the time, so she didn't answer it. And then, like a few minutes later, the person just said, "I'm just going to share it anyway. If you would like me to take it down, you can always ask me." And I was just like, "That's a bit much."
Hmm.
I would have waited for a response, but you know, it's kind of sad.
It is the story of the internet where it's
Yes.
just like, if it's on there, I can just take it, right?
Yeah.
I did want to mention another cosplay that caught me or
Sure.
caught my attention, which is your Tifa cosplay.
Yes.
Is that a closet cosplay too?
It's not. So that was actually one of my biggest projects with this year. I was talking with the photographer Eric, who's such a great friend of mine. He had mentioned he wanted to do a Final Fantasy shoot for a while, and he just mentioned it in the air on his stories, just like, you know, anyone want to shoot anything? And I told him, I was like, I would love to shoot Tifa with you one day. Like I've been wanting to cosplay as her for a minute. Um, and the remake came out and everyone was having her remake costume and it was really cool, but I didn't get into it yet. I didn't have the money to buy the outfit because I wanted to get it commissioned,
Hmm.
which that's where it was. But yeah, and then his family actually they had a bar in their basement. So I was like, this is the perfect opportunity to like buy this outfit, shoot with this photographer who I said I wanted to work with, and we found the perfect place for it. Um, so yeah, that was where that came. It was a really fun shoot actually, and I'm so happy with how the photos turned out. He did so well with everything.
The photos are phenomenal, and I was going to ask about the bar because I was like, did you just get like a chalkboard and put it up, and did you do it that way, or is it because people are creative
Yeah,
during the
definitely.
past year, like the stuff that people have done in their backyards or
Mhm.
in their rooms, like putting sets up and then breaking them down, has been phenomenally well done. And it just is it intrigued me to know, like, if you had actually gone to a bar or found a place to shoot. And
Yeah,
that's
so we had talked. He said his parents had the bar in their basement. If that wasn't gonna work out, he had a friend that had a bar as well. So he would have asked him. And then, but also, I had worked at a restaurant that had a bar, and I knew some people who could get me in at a certain hour. I knew me and Eric would be quick if we needed it to be. So we kind of had plans on how to work with it. Thankfully, I didn't need to like reach out to the restaurant and ask them anything because we were very concrete with our plans. But yeah, so for that chalkboard, actually, that was part of this. That was part of the bar in the basement. Originally, we were gonna just use the counter, but he was like, "Why not just give it more of a homey touch, more of the Seventh Heaven feel?"
Mhm.
So him and I were bouncing ideas back of what fun cocktail drinks we could come up with, and I'm like, I ran out after the first one or two because I don't drink too much or I don't know too many fancy drinks, but yeah. So he wrote some fun stuff down, and it was funny because I was like, "Would you like me to write it?" Because I have like really cute penmanship. And he was like, actually, he's like, one, I don't know if you can reach the bar because it was that high up, and I'm super short. I was like, once I get up, I cannot get down unless I have a stool or an apple or something. But no, so yeah, he wrote it because he thought that it would feel more homey with like Seventh Heaven being in the slums. It's more of the rustic feel, and it turned out really well actually.
It did. I love that there's the Shinra shot, or the Shinra shot,
Yes.
and it has cactuar juice, and it cracked me up because the first thing that I think of whenever there's like something that's related to cactus and juice is
Mhm.
Avatar: The Last Airbender with cactus juice. It's the quenchiest, and it's like
Yes.
my mind just like links them together.
It was funny because he also drew it, and I was like it took me a second because I wasn't watching him when he drew it, until, like, the last second, but I looked at it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, wait," I was like, "That's actually kinda funny." He was like, "We're keeping it." I'm like, "Yeah, heck yeah, we are."
Yeah, it's great. It's a great shot.
Thank you.
One of the things I love about cosplayers is there's always the list, like
Yes.
the list of what you'd love to do, what you're planning to do, and of course, 2020 is weird, and
Mhm.
it's like written off, but it's not written off, and I can't believe this episode's coming out in June, and I can't believe it's even that, like it still feels like it's still 2020.
Mhm.
But what's on your list? What are some cosplays that you would love to accomplish, whether it's this year or just overall?
Yes, definitely. So my biggest cosplay that I would love to have to make from scratch, well, not make from scratch, but make like the weapon from scratch is Tamari from Naruto. I don't know if you're familiar with the character, but she carries this giant fan, and that's her weapon. And she's a very strong, badass. Like she puts people to their place, basically.
Mhm.
And I love everything about that character. Her outfits are very beautiful as well. She's got like a large bow on her back. I think that's one of the main like articles of clothing that I don't want to say claim to fame, but like
Like
it's
a
one of her
signature
signature.
piece?
Yeah, her signature piece is her pigtails because she has her hair in four pigtails, and then she's always got some bow of some sort wrapped around her waist. But she's a very beautiful character, and I love everything about her. So that's one of my main. That would be like my ultimate. I could die happy if I ever did a phenomenal cosplay of that. But yeah, actually, so I'm trying to do a monthly cosplay. I'm trying to keep the rhythm of making stuff, shooting things. So yeah, I have one of my main projects as well is to do a bunch of Genshin Impact characters. I actually have a photo shoot or like a photo retreat in September where I'm doing two of the characters from Genshin Impact. I am trying to do Daisy from Mario this upcoming summer. I have Kitana from Mortal Kombat as well. I have Shinobu from Demon Slayer, and I have Silver Mist from Tinkerbell. I think, and then I'm gonna try to squeeze her in. I don't know if I can get to her, but I would love to do Raya and the Last Dragon. Yeah, those are my main ones for this year. But yeah, like I said, I'm trying to do a monthly cosplay, even if it's something casual like Cruella or Shigo, just to keep it going. Something new and to um, just kind of just test my creativity, I guess, whether I
Mhm.
manage to get a full costume or pull something out of my closet and just make something. Yeah, I try to keep busy with it, and it's something I do want to take seriously as well because it's such a cool project, or it's such a cool hobby. I'm sorry, and people don't give cosplayers enough credit when they go out of their way to make something or even buy something because it's very expensive, but also it's so time consuming and it's very messy sometimes, and it's one of those things you like sometimes start on you're on a roll, but then like you put it aside, you take that one day as a break, and then all of a sudden like the weapons in the very back of your room, or like you don't touch the sewing machine. And I kind of want to be consistent with it because it helped me pass time during quarantine, and I met a bunch of amazing people on social media because of it. So it's definitely something I want to keep up with.
Absolutely, and I'm excited to see where you go from here because everything that I get to have, or that I've seen on your Instagram so far, it's like I love getting to be kind of at the start of the journey
Yeah.
and to see just your progression from here and see where you take it, especially with like the different and variety of characters that you have on your list. I'm really looking forward to some
Thank you
of
so
them.
much. Yeah, I'm really excited. I like to start with the characters that have the long dark hair because it's easier for me to do. I would just have to worry about the costume, but eventually I want to move forward and try to do costumes with wigs and fun makeup just to keep practicing the craft and to get better at it because I do get tired of having the same long dark hair characters. Yeah, I want to show I have variety, but yeah, I'm really excited with how this year and the rest of this year and next year will go.
Absolutely. We talked about cosplay, but we're going to switch off to something. You mentioned a few characters from this next fandom.
Yes.
So, and I live down here in Orlando, and I'm kind of in the heart of the House of the Mouse, which is we're going to talk about Disney.
Yes.
Disney is such a wide and varied fandom, whether it's like the cartoons, the movies, the
Mhm.
TV shows, pretty much like Disney encompasses everything. So where would you like to start? What do you love about Disney? What's the thing that you got that got you into Disney, or your favorite movies? Like, we can go anywhere with
Yeah.
this.
So you know what? I'll start with something fun. So my name being Mulan, one of the Disney princesses.
What, your name's Mulan and you're after a Disney princess?
Well, it's a
What?
funny story because so the Disney movie Mulan came out in August 1998, and I was literally born in August 1998.
Oh my
Fun
gosh.
fact. But my mom thought of the name before the movie came out, before it even like released the trailers or whatever, because she wanted a flower name. So she told me that she was looking through the baby book and she saw Mulan there because it was a Mongolian blossom. And she thought that was unique, that sounded pretty, and I want it. And then what do you know? The movie came out. All her friends were like, "You totally named it after that movie," and she was like, "That's not true." So I get that a lot. Yeah, it's funny. Everyone's like, "So you're named after the Disney princess, huh?" And I was like, "Actually." But yeah, it's a fun story I like to tell because it's a fun fact. Like I mean, it's ironically August of 1998. That was literally when I was born, and that's when the movie came out.
What are your favorite Disney things? What do you love from Disney that you could watch like over and over again?
Let's see. I'm a sucker for Disney princesses. I actually love Toy Story, the whole series. One of my favorite movies also is Inside Out. I think that was a very cute. I didn't expect to like it, but it actually was very warming to me. I think because in subtle ways it talked about like depression, like real life problems in such a kid way. And they
Hmm.
did it so well. And I think that's also what I like about Disney, or like the older Disney movies, is some of them also do the same thing. Like Lilo and Stitch, that was one of my favorite movies growing up. And looking back at it now, like she makes so many jokes. Like she's playing with like she has her own like little voodoo kit at one point too. And it's like that totally slipped past my head as a kid. But when you look at it, it's like, oh my gosh, like she literally has no friends and she thinks like practicing this little thing is gonna like quote make them better. I mean, I know it's a kid movie, but like you know, you catch up on these little things and it's so cool. But it's like as an adult, as like an older person, you like realize it and you're like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to say like that's my life now, but like that is real. That like hits home, you know. Not the voodoo stuff, but like you know, like the having no friends and trying to fit in, and like you know, her sister is trying to take care of her at such a young age, and you know they have all this stuff going on, and that stuff is really cool to me. How they show that in like such a kiddie way, but it's you know it's you can look back at it, and that's when you realize like what it really means.
Especially with like Lilo and Stitch, like you're saying, and Lilo's sister, I think Nani,
Nani, yes.
and she's bending over backwards trying to do everything in her power just to keep them together because one small slip up, one small mistake, and that's it. And then Lilo's
Mhm.
gone, and you see it as a kid, and I was older when I saw it because again I'm old, but you see it as a kid, and you kind of like gloss over that fact of like, oh, she's just like upset, and whatever, Lilo's doing Lilo stuff. This is called Lilo and Stitch. Everything's going to be
Mhm.
fine. But then as you get older, and you're like, dang, like like you just see how much she's struggling just to keep the family together, and it's like
Mhm.
you get a whole new respect for her as a character and the story and everything that's going on.
Definitely.
Now you mentioned a cosplay character that you are going to do or you're planning to do, and you said before we started recording that you had some thoughts on the latest movie, Raya and the
Yes.
Last Dragon.
So that movie really spoke to me as a Southeast Asian woman. That was everything I would have asked for because it's not like and I noticed Disney is slowly steering away from the typical Disney princess, she's locked in a tower, like the traditional Disney stories, which I think is cool. I always go back to those when I want a cute fairy tale to watch. But I think it's really cool that they focused more on a region in Asia that doesn't get too much limelight, that not a lot of people know about. And it's interesting because that area is so rich with culture that not a lot of people know about because they mainly think of like East Asia. And
Hmm.
with the difference between East Asia and Southeast Asia, in my opinion, that Disney did with Raya that was so well was the sense of community. I don't want to spoil anything, of course, but I just think with the way the movie is told. I mean, what Raya did so well was that in the end, you don't necessarily hate the antagonist.
Hmm.
You feel for them. And I think I mean like a lot of movies do that as well, but that's such a strong like predominant thing in Southeast Asian culture is your community and like despite your differences, it doesn't matter like that you know you're raised slightly different in a different household or whatever like we're the same people, we're the same blood, you know, and like at the end of the day we need to stick together because this is our land. And I think Raya captured that so beautifully, and it was such a heartwarming thing to see on a screen. And it wasn't like the typical like she fell in love with a man or like you know she was saved or she had to find her way to save something. I mean she did, but like it wasn't like you know it was more based around the idea of her family instead of the hero's journey, if that makes sense, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Now, as
Mhm.
someone that has not seen it as we're
I'm sorry.
recording this, no, it's totally okay. I've read enough up on it as
Yes.
far as like, especially because one of the things I try to do is I try to follow like a lot of different people from different like cultures and backgrounds,
Mhm.
and that's been like one of the main topics has been about Raya and the representation of Southeast Asia because it is such a underrepresented area
Mhm.
in media because I mean in like the early 2000s or late 90s it was all about like Japanese like anime and
Mhm.
J-pop, and then you would get the people that were watching like Korean dramas or the Chinese dramas on
Mhm.
TV, and now K-pop is one of the big musical things that's happening currently,
Mhm.
but you don't really get a lot of Southeast Asia, uh, you know whether it's media, whether it's like just pretty much anything, you don't get
Mhm.
it unless you're talking to somebody that is from there or their family is from there. It's not something that's really brought out. And I know that when they announced the movie, like that was huge. Even
Mhm.
though I know that there's like some negative like talk of like, well, they didn't have this or they
Of
renamed
course, yeah.
something, but like just to see how much impact it made on people that I follow, and they've seen it and watched it multiple times on, on Disney Plus at this point, to where they've got the costumes and
Mhm.
they've written extensively about it. It's wonderful to see, because it's all about that representation in media, and having, especially with kids, like being able to see themselves in something as big as like a Disney movie,
Mhm.
like a TV show that's popular, and just being able to be like, that's me. Yeah, that could be me.
Yeah, and going off of that, that's definitely true. I think one of the main reasons why a lot of Southeast Asian countries aren't so represented in media is because that area is also very poor. There's not a lot of like beautiful like scenery that a lot of people want to capture in the media because it's all farmland and jungle, and the only like beautiful, I will quote beautiful, but like the only like um I guess modernized areas are places in the city. And I think that's what I also like about Raya is that it doesn't focus on the pretty, like it doesn't focus on making a story that isn't true. It sticks with what the countries are like. Because they don't have like the beautiful, they don't have the wall like China does. They don't have, the fun, pretty gowns that the Japanese people have and the Korean people have. It's literally just based off of this jungle and the communities that live there. And I love that they stuck with that because that's true to the people. And if they want to put representation, like they did that perfectly in my opinion. I like that they stuck it with literally like it was just this girl trying to get her family and her people back together.
And you'd mentioned like like people only know it, or people don't know it because of the country being poor, or the area being poor.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking to myself, the people that go like to go to those places, they go to the very touristy area, right?
They
And they're like,
do,
oh,
yes.
well, we went to this place. And then the first question is, well, did you really go to it, or did you just stay in your like resort where everything's catered to what you want?
Definitely.
And then you're like, okay, bye, like that's it.
I've shut down so many conversations with the people who've done that, and I feel so bad because I know they mean no harm, and they like to say, "Oh yeah, I've been to Thailand," but the way they say it, it's like they make it so glamorous. And like, while I like, I love the country, I love the motherland. I know it's not like that because my grandparents they came from villages where like the the villages were literally like huts, off the river. It's gross and it's dirty, but like that's where they lived, and it's like
Hmm.
literally like right outside of the city it goes straight to jungle, it goes straight to farmland, it goes straight to marsh. And it's like people only see what they want to see just to say they've been there, but it's like you don't really engage with the community if you don't see it at its core, because at the end of the day, those are the people who make that country is the farmers.
Absolutely. For Disney, I mean, Disney comes out with a bajillion things like every month at this
Oh
point,
right,
because
yeah.
they have Disney Plus. Uh, is there anything that you're looking forward to with Disney, whether it's Disney Plus, Disney movies, Disney TV shows? Is there something on your horizon where you're like, I'm ready for this?
You know, I don't mind too much of the new stuff. Actually, what I like is all the older stuff on Disney Plus. I have actually made it my, I don't want to say goal, but like something I look forward to actually is watching all the nostalgic TV shows that I did when I was a kid, because I feel like for me, I had to grow up really fast. So I feel like a lot of the new stuff coming out, it caters to a new generation of younger kids, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
So for me, I feel like for me to capture that childhood again or to like feel more centered with myself is to see what I grew up with. And that's all like the old Disney TV shows, the old Disney movies that I watched. Like, gosh, I went on like a Sweet Life of Zack and Cody marathon for a while. I don't know, like I feel like Disney Plus is such a cool tool to have because I don't watch I don't know, a lot of people just have like Netflix and like Hulu, and it's always like drama shows. It's always suspense, horror, thriller, and while those are fun, it's like I want to feel like a kid again, which is what I think Disney Plus is great for. So yeah, with the newer stuff, I kind of don't mind. Actually, what I do think is cool are like the little shorts they put in front of like at least like when the movie theaters were open, they would put them before the actual movies, like those shorts.
Hmm.
I always thought those are cool. Like I think there's one. It might be Bow actually.
Yes. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
such a phenomenal like, how they did that in such a short amount of time was so amazing, and I remember actually, I think I remember watching it when I went to go see The Incredibles 2, and
Hmm.
I literally was, like, sobbing because that hit so close to home, and my friends are like, "What is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "He came back for his mom." It was so funny. Or he left his mom, but yeah, it's just those are really powerful to me. And I think there's another one. It was kind of like Moana. Oh my gosh, I don't remember the name.
Is it the
The
volcano one?
volcano one, yes. Oh my gosh, that one was so beautiful as well. I don't know when I saw that one, but that yeah, I just those are so cool to me. I love watching those.
Yeah, those Pixar shorts are incredible, and
Yes.
I know, before they had, Disney Plus, like, on Netflix, they had them all together in, like, one thing where you could watch all of them back to back,
Oh yes.
but when you talk about nostalgia, like, I remember coming home from school, and it was, like, Rescue Rangers and
Yeah.
DuckTales and Tailspin, and it's like, getting to watch all of those again, or Gargoyles, and it's like,
Mhm.
dang, like, those are the shows I grew up on in, the years of coming home from school, and it's just me, and
Yeah.
I'm just getting to watch it. It's like, yeah, like,
Yeah. I think too
it's
part of it
classic.
I think yeah, definitely. And I think too part of it, like I said, bringing oh my god, like I said with Lilo and Stitch is watching it to see what you can pick up on now as an adult, as like an older person. You see all this other you all this stuff used to like run past your brain, but like some episodes or some like moments in these movies, you're like, oh my gosh, like that, you can apply it to like real life and like I don't know, it's so cool to me, like how Disney can make something at the moment and you would just take it as it is, but then when you watch it a bunch of other times at certain times, it like has a whole different meaning, and it's so cool to me.
Absolutely. Now, Mulan, we're going to talk about something that I'm not terribly familiar
Sure thing.
with, and it's a game that's really popular, and I have no idea, like, even how, like, where you play it, how you play it, but I know that I follow a number of people who talk about it, whether it's on Twitter
Mhm.
or Instagram, and it's called Genshin Impact.
Yes. It's
Now, what is it? Where is it? Tell me about this game.
yes, so I recently started actually, I wanna say a couple months ago, but from what I so I'm not a pro. Let me just that's a disclaimer. That's why I said that. But what I gather from it is that I don't know, it's just a really cute game. It's you basically are this traveler and he or she is trying to find their lost sibling. You get to choose which one you want to be the boy or the girl. Um, but yeah, you kind of just go through this world of Tevat and it's you do quests for people, but the storyline is basically you're doing all these things in hopes to find your lost sibling. And it's really cool, actually, the layout. They've got this area that's, I think from when I looked up online, it's supposed to be in resemblance to Germany. It's called Mondstadt. So everything's like castle like structure. It's very like European, basically. Um, and then you move to this area that resembles China, Liyue, and you meet the people there. And I think they're actually making like a Japanese area and a Russian area. But basically, you kind of go through, you meet the antagonists, you meet your allies, and these people you meet, you get to have them in your party. So you get to switch between characters and use their weapons to fight like the monsters, the bad guys. Um, to get a new character in your party, you have to go through the banners, which has like a bunch of characters, and you need wishes to get them. But to get the wishes, you have to buy them with the primal gems, basically. And you get primal gems by doing quests. So it's kind of just like you're kind of just doing these quests to get certain characters to help you through your journey to find your long lost brother or sister. If that makes any sense. I probably explained that really badly, but basically, yeah, you kind of just go through and you try to find this sibling and you meet other people and you fight monsters and bad guys and you level up your characters and make them like defeat people in like a second instead of 10 minutes like what I'm doing. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cute. The characters are so cool. They come up with new characters like I want to say every month, every 2 months, maybe. Um, but the thing is, the way they have it is the banners have 4-star characters and 5-star characters. So your 4-star is like your everyday characters that you can get pretty easily, but the 5 stars are like the characters, the really rare characters that you'll meet on occasion in the storyline.
Is Genshin Impact like a mobile game, or is it like on PlayStation or
Yeah, so
like,
they have a PC version. I played on PlayStation, but I do think there's a mobile version as well. And you can also play with your friends. You have a UID, so you'll send those to your people. But I think you have to be in the same server as them, meaning the same like area. So like North America and like Asia has a server. I think maybe Australia has one. I tried to add my
okay?
friend in Australia, but I couldn't because they're on different servers. Um, so yeah, it's really cool. I have yet to play with any of my friends because we're so busy, but it's it's so fun. It's literally all I play like 24/7.
I know you said the characters are pretty. I've seen a number of people cosplay
Yeah.
from Genshin Impact because the designs are just beautiful.
hmm So I think yeah, definitely the Mondstadt, like the Germany influenced characters are very. It's like you got the core for the ladies. You got the corset or like the I don't know how to say it. You got it's like a I don't know. It's like capes. It's pants and boots. Typical fantasy looking costumes. And then for
Hmm.
Liu, it's influenced off of China. So you have the long silk robes, the kipaos, the bows. Um, it's so cool. It's so cute. It's so detail oriented because each character as well has a vision, which is like an elemental power. So some people have fire, some people have ice. The little jewels, there's like little jewels on their outfits that represent their powers, and each character is so unique. It's so beautiful to me.
I have to ask in
Yes.
something like this, who is your favorite character?
Yeah, so her name is Beto. She is a pirate. She's captain of the Crux, which is her ship, or her crew. Um, she's like I've mentioned before, she's this strong, independent woman that like puts people to her place. She's known from the people Liu as like she's just like the goddess of the sea, basically. Like her power is electro. She has this giant claymore sword, and she's so cool to me. Um, Another character I like though that I'm also cosplaying as is Shangling. She's from Leo as well. She's a chef. She's this cute little girl with like a little plushy bear toy, and she loves like cooking exotic, like spicy, but like weird foods with super gross ingredients. And like they turn out really well, surprisingly. Um, I just I think what I love about these characters is that they're so charismatic and they're so like well, at least Shangling, she's very bubbly, the chef. And Beto's just like the really cool, laid back, like I feel like they're both my personality, whichever one I want to be. Yeah, they're so amazing to me. Yeah.
I was looking it up on my phone
Oh
just to
yeah,
see
sure.
like for playing, and I was like, okay, so it's available for PlayStation, Switch, PC, Apple, Android, and just see PlayStation 4, Switch, Apple, Android, and computer. So
Yes.
yeah, it's pretty much everywhere. I mean, for the most part. So that really opens it up for a lot of people to play.
Definitely. I would recommend everyone does because it's super fun. but I also don't because it takes up so much time. You get addicted so fast. At least for me. My cousin said she got into it for like a week and then gave up. um, but yeah, it's so bad because like it's one of those games where I actually would spend money on. Like the characters are so cute, but like you don't know who you're gonna get in that stupid gacha pull. And I've
Hmm.
been wanting this character for so long. His name's D Luke. He's so cute. He's refined and handsome. He's one of the bartenders, and it's just he's a fire. He's got the firepower. But yeah, like it's that game will take my money, and I will not complain about it because I the characters are too cute to not have, and like I don't mind it. I don't mind it. That's the only downfall. Like if you don't mind giving your money to this company, like there is though a way for you to play without spending money, and that's like I told you, you play the quest, you get the primal gems to spend on the wishes. But that's I can't do that. I like sometimes I'm like I just need this character. It depends on the banners that come out because they'll throw in a 5-star character. And sometimes you'll save your wishes, sometimes you won't. I kind of try it just to see if I get it or not, but yeah.
It's definitely something that, I mean, it just kind of seemed to explode overnight, and I was like, "Oh, people playing game that I don't know what it is, but they certainly like to talk about it."
Yes, it's very very addicting.
We're gonna wrap up with another topic that I'm not too familiar about,
Sure.
which is the world of K-pop. And as I said before we started, I know that at least for like the men's side, the guys side, very pretty boys,
Hmm.
with very flashy outfits, or very like um like they're all like they've got that look, and it's like, okay, everyone's got their look. Like I'm familiar with Backstreet Boys and NSYNC,
Oh
and
gosh,
everyone's got
yes.
like the favorite. Everyone gets like the favorite member. Like, oh, I love
Yes,
like Justin or Lance or JT, and everyone's got their thing. And I'm sure that's the same way with the K-pop
it definitely is.
group. I know that there's girl K-pop groups like I know Blackpink, like that's
Hmm.
the one I've heard of.
Yeah.
But what is it about K-pop? What has drawn you into that world of K-pop music?
So I first got into K-pop in like 2010, but like, or that's when I first heard it. I listened to some groups, but it wasn't until like I don't know, I got into Girls' Generation, which is also an older group, that I fully dove into it because what struck out to me was the dances that these girls would do. And it was a group of 9 girls, and they all had their role. You know, there was the main dancer, there was the main singer, the lead singer, the rapper, and it's it was so cool to me how that they could make these music videos just as flashy as their outfits basically. And I wanted to be like these girls because I thought their dancing was so cool, and it kind of just made me feel in tune with my Asian side, I guess, because I could like I didn't have to like westernize pop music or whatever. I could like Asian music and be happy with that. And like that was the part that made me feel okay with my Asian side, I guess. Even though it wasn't like anything Southeast Asian, but it was just something so cool because I was like, these girls, they, I don't know, they look so happy just dancing together. And when I started researching more about the K-pop industry, I realized that it was their their way to fame was so much different than American, like you could in America you could post something and go viral, or like you could just sign with the record, and if they liked you, or you could
Hmm.
show your stuff to a record, and if they liked you they would sign you. And with them, they have to go through like training, like they have to go through physical training to be a star. And it was interesting to me because when I read, so there are 3 main groups, the big 3 companies that people say in Korea when it comes to K-pop. There's YG, which is where Blackpink's from. There's JYP, and there's SM. And it's funny because earlier, like I don't know, when the big 3 were like known, what they were known for was really funny. Like SM was known for like the very pretty people. So people like that are EXO, Red Velvet, Girls' Generation was part of them. JYP was kind of known for the dancers, and YG was known for like the rappers, like the swag looking. Um, I don't know. Their style was very, I want to say hip hop based, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, and that's how I got to know them. I got to know these groups as I started with these main 3 people, and then you go into smaller companies, which are where the smaller groups are from. Um, but basically, each company is the same thing. You audition to be part of them. If they like you, they'll take you in. But then you basically compete with every person in there to have a spot in a group because they only debut a group like once. Gosh, like once I don't know every 3 4 years maybe I don't know, but it's you're basically competing. You're taking singing lessons, you're taking dancing lessons, you're taking rapping lessons if that's what you're into. Um, and you have to basically fight for a spot. Like the pool is, gosh, I don't, 25 is like not even, it's that's like a minimum. You're fighting for like a 4 spot group or a 4 spot like debut in a group or like even
Hmm.
3 or sometimes if you're lucky like 7 or 9, but it's still a large pool that you're competing against everyone. So you're low key sabotaging people, but you're not because they could also be like your member, your team member, your group member. And it's they put so much pressure on these girls, even the guys, to like look fit, to look very pretty. They encourage plastic surgery as well. And actually, the way they see plastic surgery in Korea, I think, is different than they do here in America. Because in here, a lot of people think it's like fake. You're using it to just make something bigger or like whatever. But in Korea, they actually view it as like a transformation, kind of like a butterfly transformation, where you're using it to enhance something. So they view it more as a positive way, which is why it's
Right.
very popular over there. But yeah, so they basically put these trainees through hell, and like they just and half the time you spend most of you're trying to balance like your schoolwork as well with this because a bunch of people still go a bunch of the trainees are young people that that want to be a star, but then like they have to worry about their family life as well. But that's the training life, you have to dedicate every single like day in the studio for that. But yeah, you're basically like fighting for the spot, and half the time you don't even know if you're going to make it, and then you get dropped or you get thrown into another waiting period after like maybe a first group debuts, and even after you get debuted you don't even know how long you're going to last. Like you have a contract, but then that still depends on like your fan base and how well your company promotes you. Like it's so sad that a bunch of like groups have went through so much and then they don't even get the recognition. Like you spend maybe like, I know some girls have like 6 or 7 years of trainee years before they finally debuted, and then like they get so far and then people don't even like promote them, like their company doesn't even promote them as much.
Yeah, I've heard from a number of different people about how rigorous like the training is, and
Hmm.
you have not only is it like dancing and singing, but it's like public relations
Yeah,
and language classes and just so many things because you have to be on like I don't know if it's like what once you wake up like you're on like you have to make sure that
basically,
you're if
yeah.
you're on social media and make sure you're not allowed to date or you're not allowed to
Hmm.
be seen, you can't have that hint of a relationship or anything of that nature. It's like you're just constantly on for the amount of time that you're with like that group or with that company.
The way they think of it is that if you want to be a star, that is what you put everything into. You cannot let love get in the way. You cannot let your mental illness get in the way. Like that's why a lot of K-pop stars have mental illnesses that they don't bring to light until it's too late. Like there's a bunch of K-pop stars that have committed suicide, unfortunately, because of the pressure of having to appeal to their company, to their fans on their social medias. Like they have to just be all smiles and just camera ready, like you said, and they don't even catch a break. And they should, but the way the company views it is that like if this is what you want, you have to do this because we were the ones that brought you to the limelight. So you do it or you get out.
For the world of K-pop
Hmm.
for now, like in the current times, like who do you like? Who would you recommend to check out and listen to, especially for somebody like me who hasn't listened to anything.
Yeah, so I'm more of like I listen to more of like the 2013, 2014 groups. Groups like that are Got Seven is one of the main ones. I think there's some drama going on with them right now, but their older music is fine. They're very talented. They are not all Korean actually. There's some Koreans. There's a Chinese member. There's a Thai member, and some of the members have lived in America for a few before they went over to Korea. But
Hmm.
they're a very diverse group, which I like, and they have different styles. They're really good. Got Seven is them, and everyone knows BTS. They're really good. I would recommend listening to their older songs, like their Most Beautiful Moment in Life album is one of my favorites. It's a bit darker, but I think it's one of those things where it's like when you're in a dark time, you create art, and that art is what lifts you and carries you, to forward. And that was what that album is for me. A lot of the newer stuff is very cool. It's poppy, it's cute, but like the raw emotion and powerful, like that stuff is what kind of helps me get through time as well. Blackpink is really good. Everyone loves them now because they're getting a lot of media coverage. They're really good though. I recommend Tiffany Young. She was in Girls' Generation. She was one of the OGs. She had branched off of Girls' Generation a while ago, and she's made her US debut. I want to say, gosh, it was a couple years ago, but she's got some nice music. She's got a beautiful voice. Also, yeah, I actually recommend checking out individual artists as well from the groups. So, like for example, in Got Seven, there's this man Jackson Wang. He's very handsome. Um, he's one of the Chinese members. He has is starting to make his U.S. debut as well. Before in the old K-pop generation, I guess you had to just work with your group. You weren't supposed to have solo acts. Some people did, but it was still tied with a group. But now I think because the music industry is changing, a lot of artists are starting to be more individual and kind of challenge their music in different ways. So Jackson from Got Seven is like that. Tiffany Young, Suga has from BTS has made a bunch of connections. He made some songs with Halsey. He made a song with Max, I think, Blueberry Eyes, that might have been on the radio if you've heard. Yeah, they're really cool. Oh, actually, I would also recommend Card, Kard. They're so in the K-pop world, it's usually straight up like guy groups and girl groups. There's no collab between them unless you're doing like a one-on-one collab. But Card is a girl and a guy group, and it's a four member group. They came out a while ago, but yeah, I would just recommend. They're really cool. I think it's different. They have a different sound compared to other artists because they're both a girl and a guy group. They've done covers, American covers. They did Taki Taki um, by DJ Snake and Selena, and yeah, those are the people I'd recommend. Mainly Got
Awesome.
Seven because Jackson's from there. He's my main. He's like my he's like my Justin Timberlake of K-pop.
Very cool. I will definitely have to take a listen because every time it's always something like, I've heard of, BTS and Blackpink,
Mhm.
and I saw Monsta X on We Bare Bears, which
Yeah,
I was like, oh, I kind of know who they are because of a cartoon show. Thank you.
yeah,
But it's definitely something new where even like a year or two ago, it was like, I have no clue what's going on, but it is like K-pop has taken over a
it
number of
is.
people, and it's like, oh, okay, you like K-pop and you like K-pop, and everyone's got their group, and they're buying like the spinny light up things, and they're
Yeah.
flying all around the country to go see them.
I would definitely recommend to go to a concert, a K-pop concert. What's in your life? Not BTS. I mean, I would recommend BTS, of course, but like the prices are so crazy for that. But just the energy and the vibe of a K-pop concert is so much different than American artists. It's interesting because, I mean, apart from like the little glow sticks that you like shake around and stuff, I just think the community is so they're so welcoming because they know how hard K-pop artists have to work to, be able to even have a tour in America or even
Hmm.
anywhere outside of Korea. So it's very like it's a very tight community and it's a very loving community. Before there used to be fan wars about like whose group is better, but now it's like when you think of it, because they're all trying to like branch out to America, like American artists and like do collabs with them. It's kind of just, I don't want to say the same, but like you recognize and you respect the struggle of having to work hard to do it. Like even G Idol, they do songs KDA. There's like two members from G Idol for that. That like for League of Legends, right?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah. I don't play League. I just know KDA. League
Yeah, that
League's a whole
I
other.
I only know that from people cosplaying, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this came out of a video game
And
that
see,
I have no clue
I
about.
think that's so cool because it started. There's American artists in KDA as well, but like it's so cool that like even K-pop's starting to make an influence into cosplay as well, and it's like that's just so like amazing to me. Like I love what they do.
It is absolutely wonderful, and I can envision it going, you know, a lot more from here because of what everyone that I've seen into it is very, they are very devoted to
Yeah.
their groups, and I've seen long enough the people struggling from like European countries to try and make it in America, and it's like, okay, like that whole like gotta break
Mhm.
in. Oh, they don't know you in America, and now it's like we're it's so easy to like access YouTube videos and music videos and music and get it. It's like hopefully now it's easier than it was like 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
Yeah, definitely. One more thing. I also recommend Blue D. She used to be a YG, or she used to be signed under YG, but now she stepped away from it. But she does covers of American songs, and she's got such a beautiful, like, light and airy voice, and it's so unique. And she looks like a doll when she's singing. She's got a blue aesthetic, and it's so cool. Um, and I think too, giving recognition to people that didn't make it in K-pop groups like is still important because then you're supporting like smaller artists, and I'm always for that as well. But like something about her, she's just so like unique and beautiful, and I just think her voice is like people have to listen to it. It's so beautiful.
I will definitely have to check it out.
You should.
For people that have listened to this podcast and they would
Yes.
like to follow you out there on the world of the internet and social media, what are some of the best places to find you?
Yeah, so I'm most active on Instagram. You can find me at It's Not Mulan. That's IITS, not Mulan. And Facebook is It's Mulan, uh, because that's where I post everything outside of cosplay. I do some writing on there, some dancing on there. Some I post some gaming stuff that I might do on Twitch, but I'm not entirely active on that anymore. But I'm trying to get back into it. But yeah, mainly Instagram is what I'm on.
Okay, well, I will have the links on the show notes and the Facebook page and website. So that way, if you enjoyed listening to Mulan's episode, you can click that and go there. Definitely go follow her on Instagram. Even check out like the stories because you have good stories and
Thank
got the
you.
pictures that you're doing of your different cosplays. So uh, I just want to say thank you, number one, for taking the time to talk with me and educate me as well on some of these fandoms,
Yeah.
but for persevering because I know it. Again, it took a while, but I'm so happy that we got to connect and talk about stuff that you loved.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I know, like you said, it was a hassle just trying to we bounced back and forth a couple of dates, but it was so this is so fun. It was a great time for me.
Thank you for listening to Tales from the Fandom. Subscribe to us on iTunes or your podcast app of choice. Follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Tales from the Fandom to see photos, links, leave feedback, and check out upcoming guests. If you'd like to be a guest, email David at talesfromthefandom@gmail.com.